Hey guys, it's me, Kitty, or as some of you might know me by my author name, KM Shea. And in this week's YouTube clip, I'm going to talk a little bit about some behind the scenes stuff, specifically, like I guess you could say the bones of my stories. Now, what's important to note before we really dive into this, and this isn't going to be like a writing tutorial or anything, I actually have some stuff I'm going to show you, but first it's important to know that most authors are in two different camps, and that's plotting or pantsing. Now, pantsing means you basically just go. Like when you write, you start maybe with like a basic idea, a couple of characters, but then you let the story kind of guide you and you go wherever it goes. The opposite end of the spectrum is the plotters, and they are the people who will like make the character bios and will figure out the emotional arcs and the actual plot of the story, like what will happen. And I used to be a pantser, and now I'm a plotter more because it saves me a lot of time, and it also means that I don't have to do a bunch of rewrites, because when I plot everything out ahead of time and I know what I'm doing, it helps keep the story more coherent, and then I don't have to go back in and add stuff. So I usually do plotting, although I don't necessarily go in as deep as some people. I do some very base character bios, figure out like the world and all that kind of stuff, and then the general events, like the pacing really more, because I don't necessarily know how each event will happen or turn out. It's more like I just have a general idea of what's going on. And so as part of that, I always do all of my plotting in notebooks. And that's because it's just easier for me. I can sit on a couch, I can go to a cafe and write out my thoughts, and it makes it a little easier to focus than sitting on the computer, where I can easily get distracted by the internet. So I kind of thought that it would be fun if I could show you guys some of the notebooks that I have and the stories that they have created, birthed, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So the first one, most of these are timeless fairy tales, but I do have a couple of others. So the first one is my notebook that I used for Wild Swans and Beauty and the Beast, and that's this one, Happy Sweet Time. Let me see. I like these kinds of bindings best instead of the spiral bound, because they're a lot less messy, and it's just nicer. They can sit flat like that. So yeah, so this was the notebook that I had for Beauty and the Beast, and then for Wild Swans. I didn't really use much paper because I wasn't super big into plotting then. It was actually more for characters, and you can see this is the first rough draft I have of the map of the Timeless Fairy Tales world. It's completely incorrect because I changed things as I went, and I hadn't really made plans for most of the countries then. I just was listing them, so I knew vaguely where everything was, or at least what the country names were. So that was that. Let me find another one. Oh, so this one is my notebook for Swan Lake. It's a composition book. Again, you can see I have that binding. And in this one, you can also tell that I used a lot more paper. I actually used up almost all of it in writing. I used more paper in this one for plotting than I actually used for Beauty and the Beast and Wild Swans combined. So by then, my stories were getting much more complex, and I was plotting out a lot more, so, and that's typically what I go through now. Usually I can, like, one notebook will be an entire book. Sometimes it will be two, if it's smaller, like, let's see. This one has my notes for 12 Dancing Princesses and also for The Princess and the Pea, because I just had a bit at the end that I hadn't yet used up, so I went ahead and used it when I was plotting out The Princess and the Pea novella. So, but yeah, I chose this one specifically for 12 Dancing Princesses because it's got like a woodsy kind of cutesy theme. And originally I was thinking about making Emrys turn into a fox, but instead he turned into a wolf puppy because I thought that was a little more embarrassing for him. So, but yeah. And that is, like, I really like getting fun notebooks like this that are themed. Like, those are my favorite. That's why, if you look at these all, they're themed or, like, different in some way. I don't like buying just normal composition notebooks because I feel like it gives them each a little more personality. And it also suckers me into wanting to write in them because I want to write in the pretty notebook. So, this is my Snow Queen one. It is absolutely full. Like, there's not a free piece of paper in here because I did so many notes for Snow Queen. So yeah, all in here. I should actually not show this to you guys because it has some plot twists and spoilers that you don't know about yet. So, putting that one aside, this one, which I'll have to, so the first one that I showed you guys, which was Beauty and the Beast and Wild Swans, as well as this one, I actually got in Japan, so that's why they're super cute, and I love these kinds of notebooks. This is the only one that I'm showing you guys that actually has the spiral bound, but it's very cute, and what did you say? It flips very easily, nicely, which I wouldn't say all notebooks normally do that. Like all spiral bound notebooks normally do that, but it says, "Sweet days, we love carrot." And I just felt like that would annoy Lucian, so naturally I wanted to use it. Let's see. This last Timeless Fairy Tale one that I have, this is actually, I got this specifically for Sleeping Beauty. I saw it and I went, I have to have it. So, as you can probably guess why. But it actually is a clipboard on the outside and then a notepad on the inside, which is the only one that I have that's like this. It's an actual notepad. And the notepad is all the Sleeping Beauty stuff, but I actually use this clipboard. I just take the Sleeping Beauty notepad out and I just use the clipboard. And I can like put stuff on it. It's really nice because I can lean it against my computer tower, and if I need to remember names, I can just put the list there, reference it whenever I like, anything like that. So this is very useful. As you guys can tell, I do like to get a variety of books. So the final one I have is actually my second Age of Wraitha notebook, and it's this one I should say is, so second Age of Wraitha is my lit RPG / game lit series that's under my AIM Soma pen name, which is a fancy way basically of saying that the characters are stuck in a video game. So this one is a little different in that it doesn't have as much like specific plotting, because before I write every day, like I'll write out just a few sentences of what each scene is going to be like, and I have some of that in here, but a lot of it is also notes on the actual like game. For instance, let's see if I can get it to focus. Yeah, here's a list of guilds that you guys are going to be meeting in the third book. And then I'll have like this was the original party, and let me see if I can, yes, there we go. And it has some of their skills. So this is like Vic, Cookie are in there, all that kind of stuff. And it has like their level, their job. Some of it changed over time, so I don't think this is my most recent one. But yeah, and then as part of that too, so I have like all the skills listed in here. I can't show you guys all of this again because it's got some stuff from book 3 and I don't want to reveal any spoilers, but it also has a very, very, very rough draft of the world kind of, let me see if yes, there we go. I'm trying to get it in so you guys can see, but also so you can see me at the same time. But yeah, so it's got like a very rough draft of the world, and this is like, when I say rough, I mean rough. It's kind of like the one that I showed you guys for Timeless Fairy Tales. I usually go through several renditions of maps before I finally like get everything nailed down and in place. So this was actually, going back to the Timeless Fairy Tales, this was another rendition I made of the Timeless Fairy Tales world. Yeah, okay, I wanted to make sure I didn't have anything on there. But yeah, before I actually sat down and hashed everything out with my map maker. And if you guys want to see the Timeless Fairy Tale map in detail, just go to kmshay.com, and then under books, there's a heading for Timeless Fairy Tales. Click on that, and you'll be able to see both that, and if you so choose, there is a timeline for the Timeless Fairy Tale series, because this is another example of bones. I'm only showing you guys half because, again, last half has spoilers, but this is wrapping paper. Hint for you guys who want to do something like this out there. This is wrapping paper. I cut off a slice of this, and then I made it into a timeline. Whee! So I could write out everything, and that way I have an absolute reference of where things are. I'm going to fold this down even smaller. So like this is, I call it year 0. Just because that's easier for me to remember. But so this is like the year Severin gets cursed, Evariste gets kidnapped, like taken away, Puss ends up meeting Gabby, all that kind of stuff. But this is actually year 0. Puss in Boots is the only book that takes place then. But yeah, so I actually have a digital version of this timeline, much nicer version, which is also available on the website. I'll leave a link below so you guys can check it out. And I did actually just update it. I think I uploaded it. I'll have to check and see if I uploaded it. But I updated it with the Princess and the Pea edition. So, but yeah, that is all my notebooks. Well, not all. That's some of my notebooks. I hope you guys found it interesting. If you have anything you want me to talk about, go ahead and leave your suggestion in the comments down below. I would appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching, guys, and have a lovely day. Read a good book. Bye.